Fellow Nigerians, our country is going through one of its worst moments in history. The state of Nigeria requires all of us, regardless of where we are on earth, to come out of our comfort zones, to battle for our soul. Our country is under siege on all fronts. Our country has been taken over by janjaweeds that pretend to be leaders. The question is, how much can we take? How much more can we take? Here is a country where a citizen went into the hallowed chamber of the Senate and carted away the mace, the symbol of authority of the National Assembly, and was not punished. What type of example is that? Here is a country where the government allegedly spent 600 billion feeding students at home, students who were on lockdown, and nobody is raising a finger. How on earth do we have a country that cannot cater to its use? Fellow Nigerians, good evening from Houston, Texas, United States of America. And this is Smart Mado Ajaja, the presenter and anchor of Nigeria Now at ONN and the Nightingale Radio International, broadcasting every Saturday at this time from Houston, Texas. Sorry about the very late start. We had some technical issues that we needed to resolve, and successfully we were able to resolve it. And you are listening to me from the radio platform, from our platform ONN on YouTube, and from LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and a lot of other platforms. So if you are caught up with us right now, please do us a favor, share this message, and if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel or followed us on Facebook, please do so right now. And the reason we are here is to talk about something that has become a recurring decimal in Nigeria, the Igboss in Nigeria, and our fear that Nigeria will fall apart because of the disturbing hate against people from that tribe. Tonight or this evening, we have a very, very patriotic Nigerian, US-based, by the name Mr. Bayi. We're going to be having a brotherly discussion on this issue, and we're going to show you some few footages of what some people are thinking about the Igbos, and they will share our own opinion. This is not a time for me to break down on people. If you want to tune in, or you are tuning in, or you want to make a call directly into to be part of this discussion, please, you can do so by connecting with me on WhatsApp. My number is +1 832 407 6282, or you can catch up with us on Facebook or on YouTube or any platform where you're tuning in, or you can call him from the radio too. For those who are handy, driving, very close to their hand-used devices, so you can connect with us on all this platform. But before we proceed, I would like us to formally meet our brother Obayi. Brother Obayi, please introduce yourself to Nigerians listening and watching from within Nigeria and around the world.
Hello, Nigerians. My name is Obayi Lenry, and I am a Nigerian who is based in the United States. And I want to say that as a Nigerian, I have participated actively in different political forums, and I've been a voice from my school days for unemployed graduates up to the level of being a strong agitator for the Niger Delta region at different levels. And today I can't take the privilege to sit with my brother here to just look at some of the issues that he would be raising as concerning the current state of Nigeria and especially the Niger Delta region also. And it's a privilege being here with you guys.
Thank you and welcome. So let's quickly dive into it because we started a lot later than we are scheduled to because of what I explained earlier. Now, the state of Nigeria. Briefly, what do you think about Nigeria the way it is right now, as compared to what you used to know about Nigeria?
Of course, the way Nigeria is right now, it's so sad that nobody can really put a description to Nigeria as to being a place where we have all been very proud of coming from, and a place where we all call home. Um, when you ask that question, what do how would I describe Nigeria? The way it is now and then the way it used to be. It's a very broad question for me because I really don't know where to begin to touch on that question. Is it
Well, just
economically?
start from
Is it
somewhere.
politically? Is it academically? Nigeria right now, if I want to compare it to Nigeria before, which even as it was before wasn't anything to write home about, Nigeria right now is in a complete state of comatose. Is it's the best way I can describe Nigeria is just saying that you have a textbook with a cover page with no letters inside. It's unfortunate where we find ourselves considering the enormous, resources that we've been blessed with. Most important of them all is our human capacity, resources. Not to talk of our natural resources, and not to talk of our environmental, resources. And seeing that we have moved from a country where in 1983 our currency was more valuable than the US dollar, to become a country where today, we can hardly use our own currency to purchase anything that would sustain our livelihood. Um, I think Nigeria is really in a bad shape compared to what it used to be or what it has ever been. We are in the worst place in any position any nation state could, ever, imagine to be.
Okay, thank you. Just on February 25th, to be precise, 2023, Nigeria had a major election, and prior to that election, the expectations about outcome was so high, and the following day, right about 4 a.m., an announcement was made that the people of Nigeria, uh, majority felt or still feels that fell short of their expectations. What do you have to say about that?
If it as it concerns the just um, last concluded presidential election, I still hold the position that you know um, Nigeria as a nation has denied itself to ever be recognized as a democratic country. First of all, because the fundamentals that would make you categorize any nation to be called a democratic, state, was completely, ripped off from the processes that would have ever made us, be counted as one of such nations. Um, it is unfortunate that we had an election that not just that people came out to vote, and people also believed that this could begin to pave the change that they desire, for Nigeria as a start point, but that the same kind of abuse that we've always experienced, the same kind of disregard, the same kind of impunity, even at a higher level, is what was completely displayed, just to show that Nigeria as a nation belongs to a few persons who decide what is and what is not. I don't see how an election where INEC requested for everything that is required for them to conduct a successful election. And even after what they requested for, to even have asked for even more fund to ensure that that process was airtight, to organize an election that doesn't take rocket science in any other part of the world. I don't want to mention the United States. This is even going to advance. Even in other African nations, an election that doesn't take rocket science to conduct, to not mismanaging, to completely violate every processes that was supposed to guarantee that this election was meant to project the voice of the common Nigerians, and eventually turn it to become a drama of who is supposed to be there, who is not supposed to be there, and eventually decide who becomes the president of this country called Nigeria. It's something I don't want to go back to. I have been a part of different bodies that have, been fighting and actually stood and confronted, the Nigerian government about this whole episode of the last presidential election they conducted, and I still stand with certain interest, to see that justice is done, not about who won, but about how this election was conducted and how people who sit today to hold the power of leadership find themselves in such position. Because like somebody rightly said, if you steal and plunder and buy your way to leadership, it is the first mark to show that you're not going to represent the people. And where we are today as a nation, we need people who will represent the interest of Nigeria. INEC had the opportunity to quench so many of the mistrust that Nigeria has. Because I keep saying, like, there was something you said earlier, I think when we were having this back conversation about, how the hatred for the Igbos. It's not just the Igbos that have that kind. I always like to say, though, that the Igbos are not hated. The Igbos are feared. There's people think it's hate. It's not hate. People fear the Igbos. I'm not saying fear them because they are something you cannot trust. They fear them because of the kind of capacity they have to emerge, the capacity they have to become, to bring water out of stone. It is something that a nation that truly wants to progress is supposed to embrace and supposed to exploit. But from a place where we're coming from and the history that follows us with how we prefer stupidity of tribalism rather than nationhood, it has become something that, it's now more like, people, they show more sort of like disdain, for their fear that it now looks like it's hate. I don't think they hate the Igbos. They fear them out of deep respect, So just to get back to my point.
Yes.
Just to get back to my point, sorry. So you see that from where we're coming from and where we are, thinking of the kind of money that was invested in INEC as one single entity that is supposed to bring trust back to Nigeria. Because what it means is that if INEC conduct a free and fair election, and Nigerians, both north, south, east, west, southeast, southwest, understand that this single institution is the one that we all can trust to project the voice of Nigerians the way they say it. It simply means nobody will begin to think that he's an Igbo man. That is why, you know, the Igbos are supporting him. He's an Hausa man. That is why the Hausa should be supporting him. What Nigeria needs is just trust on the institutions, like INEC. So once INEC failed, we fell back to that area of tribalism again. It is because he's a Yoruba man. That is why you people don't want him to come in. It is because he's an Igbo man. That's why you people are supporting him. We didn't have to come there if INEC had used the money that was enough to make sure that our students were in school while they were on strike, because government could not pay them, could not pay ASU, money that was not half of the amount of money that INEC expended on this election for doing nothing. Not, let me not use the word nothing, for stealing again from Nigeria. We pay people to steal from us. We pay people to maim us. It is better that we didn't put any money on INEC. We did not invest a dime on INEC. And at the end of the day, this is the outcome. We invest billions on INEC. Over almost 400 billion was invested into this election process, and nothing came out of it. So I want to say that it is a shame, you know, the last concluded election. It's a huge shame, you know, the outcome and where we are with it today. That that masquerade of shame is still dancing around from where we are, from the election to tribunal, and we are seeing what the tribunal is doing and how they are playing around with it and all of that. I think it's a shame where we are, you know, with the just concluded presidential election.
Bluetooth pairing.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, brother Mike.
Connected.
Yes. Did you finish making your point?
Yes. I think
Okay.
that's
Now,
all I want to say.
yeah, you talked about the process, which is the qualms all of us have, a good number of us have with what happened. I don't believe that the process was followed, due process, and in accordance with the amended electoral law. Now, this matter is before a tribunal. Do you, based on the history of Nigeria's judiciary, do you believe that justice will be done on this matter?
Like, you know, I would always tell people there's always a first time for everything. So based on that, I would not want to preempt the behavior of the judiciary. I want to, you know, for the benefit of doubt, for the, you know, for upholding certain principles, that I want to believe that they will do the right thing, even though it doesn't seem like they are going to do the right thing. You know, you can judge, even though you cannot conclude certain, you know, outcome from behaviors, you know, but you cannot conclude because you can't tell the end from the behavior of, you know, our judiciary and from their antecedents. It it would be laughable to think that they would come out with anything close to justice in this matter. It will be laughable. I don't
Okay.
want to, you know, preempt them.
Yeah. So, but where the contrary happens, they do what they had always done. What implication will it have on the future of people coming out to run for election like they
There's no
did?
implication. There's no implication. It's just like saying what will be the consequence. Nigeria right now is living in the consequence of a behavior and culture we have adopted. In fact, I want to surprise you to tell you that if the reverse happens, Nigeria will be shocked, because Nigerians, I'm talking about Nigerians in general, what they are expecting to happen is that justice will not be done. That is the expectations of Nigerians. Saying that what will be the consequence, or what would that now spell out for, subsequent, election, or, spell out for the Nigeria political environment, in the future. It's just like saying that, how was it 5 years ago? How was it 10 years ago? It is the same process. What it will only mean is a consolidation of the processes of getting into the position of leadership in Nigeria, where you have to make sure that every apparatus that is supposed to guarantee, credibility is well oiled by, the money bags, and oiled by the influence of those who have the contact, to, places of power, whether within and without, to ensure that those loopholes are well, or those mercenaries are well oiled. And then, you become what you want to become. That is why when a lot of us, including yourself, who feel so, demoralized and feel so sick about the situation, it's not just the present, it is exactly what we have mutated into, that we are finally consolidated with this past concluded election. We are finally, cemented the image of a system that, decides by those who are more powerful and those who have the contact and influence to get into position to get there. That's why I said in the beginning that Nigeria has failed completely to fall into the category of a democratic nation, because all the fundamentals and all the, factors that naturally makes a country, be classified as democratic, we have lost it all. We have failed on every angle. So what would happen moving forward should the judiciary uphold this election, or the outcome of this election, like I like to say it, is just that, we would have been well, informed that this country doesn't belong to the people. It belongs to the cabal. It belongs to the few. It belongs to those who, when they choose, they can decide to use religion as an instrument to destabilize the system. When they choose, they can decide to use tribalism to destabilize the system. When they choose, they can decide to use, terror to destabilize the system. That is it, period. That's how helpless, how sad, how bad the situation is. There's nothing. What do you think is going to happen? That in the future, even right now, why just after the election, why we're still, fighting and challenging, the behavior of INEC, and the impunity with which they are riding on this high horse. What happened? Primaries were conducted in Nigeria where, before the primaries, the results were called. What has happened so far? Nothing. Elections were held in Nigeria where the people who were supposed to be part of that election, who were supposed to come out and contest for that election, while they were still going through the process, the election has been done and result had been called. And the people, as we speak today, they are in position of power. They are in position of administration. So asking what will happen if that judgment, goes the way that Nigerians expect it, in quotes, is just like saying that, what do we do? There's nothing. There's nothing. It's sad, but that is the truth right now. It's sad, but that is what it is. I don't believe in living in pipe dreams. We must first of all know what the truth is, and then we begin to say, how do we confront it?
Yeah, that leads to the next question which you just asked. How do we confront this monstrous and this monstrous challenge that has made Nigeria hell, that has made our people look like they are a conquered people. What can be done to inspire the people of Nigeria to wake up and understand that their lives right now and their lives in the future are in danger if they don't act?
Okay. Unfortunately, Nigeria would not be the first, country that has moved from the high place of from grace to grass. There are so many nations that have moved from that position before that, decide not to manage situations and eventually get to a place where they become so incapacitated to even manage it, even if they thought that they would want to change, and then they find themselves in those kind of comatose situation where the economy is completely is completely shredded, and then the state is completely lawless, and then people are just suffering, and there's indescribed fear and terror all over the land. Nigeria will not be the first. Why I said that is because if you ask me, how do we address this issue? The truth is that the what it would take to address the issue of Nigeria is almost out of the hands of Nigerians. I dare even say that it's almost just not what Nigerians can really do, because one of the things that we fail to realize when we discuss the issue of Nigeria as a nation is, how do these people truly succeed in forcing their way into office and they are being acknowledged and welcomed by forces, external forces, foreign forces that you cannot challenge. So when you ask, what can Nigerians do? What would they do? They've been crippled as a people already. The kind of hunger that is in Nigeria right now is that nobody even wants a police to arrest him, because they cannot even bail themselves out. The most vibrant body that would have been an instrument to begin to revitalize the energy to challenge and to question government has long been disbanded and politicized by the Obasanjo regime, which was the student union government. The student union government used to be the strongest action group in Nigeria. It used to be the strongest mobilization center, in Nigeria. And once Obasanjo disbanded them and scattered them, and when they were reconstituted, somehow through the university board, they became politicized and they started working for politicians and everything, and they brought them into this fold of dark-minded leadership. We lost it. So within the people, there is nothing that the people can do except that we eventually get into this place where we pray every day not to get into, where you have different factions begin to fall out to claim ownership and to claim rights and resources by any form, whether through arms, whether through any form, but mostly through arms, which would lead to a whole lot of bloodshed and lead to a complete breakdown of law and order, which ultimately makes Nigeria a stateless society. So I don't have an answer to what the solution to what will fix Nigeria's problem is. I don't have that answer. The only thing I know I see, it's what it's mutating to become. It can't be from within. It can't be from within. It's sad to say, until we see, unfortunately, which we would not see and find a government outside Nigeria that has that power, that has that clout, and begin to show interest, in seeing that Nigeria becomes or does not, fall into that abyss of complete, anarchy, and want to see how they can help the people, because the people cannot by themselves. We need help. We need help from people or nations who are influential enough to support people from inside, to stand and challenge the government and hold the government accountable, and hold the government institutions accountable, and hold government officials accountable, and hold people like Mahmoud accountable. Then we can't do nothing. Mahmoud is working freely with all the security in the world. He has them, you don't. Nigerians don't have them. So for me, I think it's just like saying, you're playing a chess game and this is a checkmate. I really don't have that answer.
Wow, that is scary. That is scary.
It is.
You talked about help from outside, but you must understand from the standpoint of living in the United States that such help don't come without interest.
A price. Yes.
Such help, they come with a price, and sometimes very costly prices. That is some of the fears that some of us have had, I personally, because we know what to do to get those type of help, but the fear of consequences on the country and its people, is one of those things that we put into consideration in seeking those type of help. Nothing comes from outside without help. And we're calling on China. China want to come and take everything in Africa.
They are doing it already.
Okay, so I would think, no matter how bad it is, that we need ourselves to
Yeah,
come
of course.
together.
Why I said, let me just interject. Why I said that I was talking about outside. It's not that because I think they are really the best direction for us to follow. It is because I'm saying that from within, there's no help. There's nothing.
Bluetooth pairing. Bluetooth connected.
From within, there's nothing. And I'm not even talking about a country like the United States, because they've already shown you where they align their interest. You understand? The countries who are supposed to be, the model of democracy, who are supposed to say that what just happened is not the democracy which we are selling to, the world. This is not the democracy which we preach to you guys. They are not aligned with Nigerians. They are not aligned with, the cravings or the crowd of Nigerians. Not just them. You just mentioned China. Of course, any external influence that would tend to want to support the people would not be because they want Nigeria to be, for the best of Nigerians. It will be that, the people is now the best tool for them to use to achieve their goal. Of course, we understand that. But looking at where we are right now, it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible. That's why I started by saying that Nigeria would not be the first, nation that actually went from up and crippled down to the abyss. Nigeria would not be the first. That's why I started with that. Because it's where? How? Do you look at what our security forces are now? They are actually the instrument of they are now private armies. The police is now a private police to the few rich. The IG is a private organization. It's a private official to people in power. We are here in the United States to understand what it is. The police is for everybody. They protect the weak even more than they protect the strong. So if as a rich man or as somebody of status in society here in the United States, you are even more careful than the person who doesn't have anything to his name, because they really want to use you to show an example that is not how to live. that is not the model you should show for society to follow. So we're going to use you as an example to show people that there is nobody that is above the law. But it is not so in Nigeria. It is not so in Nigeria. A guy sang a song that a man who stole Maggie, they will show him in Crime Fighter. But somebody who stole billions, you will not see his name on Crime Fighter. He's talking about the one of the news they show people who commit crime and everything. You don't see them. We have people who EFCC can bring to book, and Nigeria will begin to find himself in a structure of survivor. We don't hear of those people. We hear of them going to, arrest people and show people on TV that are doing no crime is acceptable. When you are talking about people who are doing crime of 30,000, 40,000, that people are, it's so you look at where we are and then you ask the question, how do you move from there? A man who is already tied to a tree with his hands tied to his back, and you say, how does he escape? He must be a magician.
Okay. Before we continue, let me play this thing, and I will want your comment. So that will take us into one major issue that we are here to talk about, at least for the next few minutes. And just give me your opinion about it. And I'm going to share my own opinion, how I feel about it, because of all that have been happening in the country. Just be right back.
Guys, please just watch this video and share. Watch this video. Listen to what this girl she's saying on this video. If she's making a point on this video, watch this video and share it. Share this video. Watch this video and share it. Put your comment down at the comment section. Just watch. Listen.
20% of Igbo celebrities, they both the actors and actresses, na yes. I know they talk to the normal ones, so now the celebrities that they talk. People like the Peter and Paul, where they call the peace queen. People like the Choma Chukuka, where they shout up and down, where they not let us hear what during election. I saw all of una now there. Now me talking. So una don't blend down. Now they see what they happen for Enugu. Now they see what they happen for Ebonyi. As una brothers stay, they destroy properties. They wire small children with cane. They beat married women for market. Una not see them. So now this is the right time for you people to use your platform, your voice, and your money to stop this nonsense going on over there. You guys are not saying anything or doing anything about it. If not to follow Yoruba people or people where they get Lagos State, raise shoulder, do gaga, sha, Lagos is a no man's land, una go fit. Now it don't reach time for una to better una own state. Una keep quiet, all of una don't hide una head. There will be Cubana, then what did they call them? This celebrity barman. What did they call them? Cubana chief. What did una they use the money do? Where flavor? Where peace square there? Where all of una? When una they share during election and not let us hear, una just get money for nothing. Una get platform for nothing. Una not they use and do anything. No wonder una brother Peter Obi no win. Now because of this una brother stupid things where they do. Now this not they do Biafra. Share una brothers, they don't know road to Abuja to go they fight for Aso Rock. They don't know road to go they beat women for there, but no, they decide say now all those village women when they don't know one, no two, now they want beat. They molest small children, they beat them anyhow. Say why they come out. All of una don't hide una head. They know they see una face again. Una not really wise. No wonder Yoruba people get sense pass una. And for these good 8 years waiting no go they go use una head. None of una they go put for seat of authority. None. No wonder Asari Doku but they use una do rag. I can't the one that say now this one make and see una finish. See what they happen for Enugu and Ebo, una know they talk. Where this guy where they call contest for Lagos State governor before, whether na GROB na be name or something. He know they see where mama from corner. I be they not talk say na Igbo descent. Mama na from Igbo state, one of these eastern states. What is he doing about this nonsense his brothers are doing over there? So you won't tell me now say you know they see him. If not to follow Yoruba people drag now, Tinubu na thief, this one that one now go they shout. Now they let us hear what for social media. Make I hear any of una get carry on hair come and they talk. I got they swear for all of them one by one. When I reach, una no say nah. Thank God say they want you kuku clear Lagos. Once they don't clear Lagos, now they go clear all of una wey go Igbo people come out for there. Make I know where una go wrong go. As una no want better una own state. Una no know say this is the right time for you to go back to your own state and be making investment. Clear all the jargons, all this nyama wey dey there, clear and comot. So if you give these people opportunity to destroy Enugu, they destroy Ebonyi, they destroy Imo, they destroy Anambra and other states, where you go come wrong go? If Lagos now come to say, okay, may Igbo people come out for Lagos, pata, as they don't they do and now, we start. Even if they don't agree, say nothing that they do, where are you running to? No, flavor, then where all of una go wrong go? Not be the same place una for come una wrong go. When make una afford una arms now, they look these boys then, they destroy properties. They use opportunity, they loot money and things wey be say not be their own. The other people store, they collect things. Is this the right way to fight for freedom? Now this one they fight for Biafra. How you want to come? How you want to come? Wanna continue. So far I no ever hear una open una mouth or insult Yoruba people again. Me no be Yoruba person, but una just all of una a fool, especially the celebrity. Una better wise. Anybody wey go come after me for comment say I go swear for papa and mama because una no get sense. Jet people. Make una go clean up una state. Before they Tinubu na go decide say okay, you want deploy soldiers and army or police, they go there, make they go they buy all those una brother. Una go they cry say they don't like Igbo people, they don't like us. How they go like una this na jeje mindset. Thank God say Peter Obi no even win because na for too fool na self for this.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, did you? I hope you had the opportunity of you're able to listen to that short video clip.
Yes.
Okay, please, I want us to talk about it. I want you to start share your own opinion about what this young lady said.
I think she's just really upset, about a particular issue that is making her talk about other things just to buttress her point. I kind of understand where she's coming from, in a sense that the situation that is going on in the East, not all of it, of course, it's what individuals can can fix. It's not even a matter of fixing, but it's a matter of lending your voice to it, and saying something. I don't know if you did see the clip she's trying to show, in part of the video.
Yes, I saw.
I did watch that situation. I did watch the thing itself on YouTube, and I was really mad. I was really mad at the kind of abuse and inhuman treatment that they took. Those people had to go through, women and children. And I think what she's saying, which I also agree with, is that we know these are issues that the government, is dealing with, and government, is the one that's really supposed to deal with it. But it's unfortunate to see that there is no person from the East. This is not saying whether tribalism. There's nobody from the East who has a name that is just coming out to say that, no, we condemn this kind of action. You cannot just treat people like this and everything. It looks like all the people like she mentioned, and even much more. These are even little boys in the scheme of things when it comes to the Eastern Power Bloc. You understand? None of them is saying anything about it. Like it is okay. Like it is an affirmation of the behavior of those people, because it seems to be that they have something that they are trying to, push forward. That they have an agitation that they seem to affirm. So I share what that young girl is saying. You of course, Nigeria belongs to all of us. There can be the other thing that they are in Yoruba land and or Lagos, trying to claim Lagos and hold Lagos. I think those are just part of the venting. It's not like she's being tribalistic in that sense. But just to talk about it in that context by itself is that you cannot know what is right while you are in Lagos, and then you don't know that that same thing is right for people that are far away. I don't want to use the word homeland, so it doesn't look like they are not from a they are supposed to be from a particular place or belong to a particular place. But people who your voice could matter to their survival, their safety, their peace. It is sad that there are two things going on, and even in all of them, you don't see a cohesion, a sort of unity, even from the entire eastern region. Let's use, for example, IPOB, which we want to like these people want to identify that this is all of the IPOB movement, even though I doubt so want to think that IPOB is now is still existing as one whole entity. I think there are all different people that are now springing up, to become extreme in their activities to project the IPOB agenda or the IPOB goals. But at the end of the day, if you see what's going on with the agitation of the IPOB people, you don't see the Igbo speaking people. Of course, I use that because that is where the IPOB is really coming from. That is where the projection is coming from, which is supposed to concern all of us, including everybody from Delta State, Edo State, Bayelsa State, Rivers State, because Biafra is not a people. Biafra is a region. So anybody that falls within that region is a Biafra. So having said that, you don't see anybody from the East who has the wherewithal, who has some level of influence, saying or making any comment of support to this agitation. Look at this thing that happened that we're talking about. Ohaneze, the strongest, at least most recognizable Igbo body, did not say anything about it. Like, it is okay. It is not okay to treat people like that. It is not okay to, to put people's children and people's family in such danger because you're agitating for what? That is oppression. So I think she has a point saying that, these people, they are more concerned about their personal well-being. They are actually concerned for, even as it is like it is in Nigeria, people are more concerned about their personal well-being, that they are concerned for the entire survival of Nigeria as a nation. So it is sad. She made mention of an Asari Tokubo and all that. You can see the kind of comment Asari is making and all of that. You don't have to be a warlord to be able to challenge Asari Dokubo. You don't have to be, in government to challenge Asari Dokubo. Even Ohaneze has such remarkable body, such formidable body of the Igbo-speaking people of the Easterners, has not been able to even come out to tell Asari Dokubo, even if you're not challenging him, to say you don't talk like that. Or to call the government to say, no, we will not allow this man to spill it and begin to threaten the lives of certain people from certain regions like that. We need you to do something. They are not speaking. Nobody is saying anything. So I understand where she's venting from. It's very sad.
All right. Well, good. Yeah, my opinion. Yeah, some of the things she said were right. Yeah, because coming from where I come from, I don't think I want to see my immediate neighborhood on fire and I turn a blind eye. I don't know what drives those people to behave the way they behave. They have not done well at all. And the idea of a stay at home is wrong. It's wrong to the people's survival. It's wrong to their security. It's wrong about just every human indices. It has not helped the cause. And I remember sometimes a few years ago, I wrote a public opinion advising Nnamdi Kanu that he should try as much as possible in his agitation not to invite a federal might driven by tribalism and religious nationalism into Igbo land a second time. It happened between 1967 and 1970, and the result was a wholesome disaster. I come from very close, not too far from Asaba. And I know what Murtala Mohammed did. Every market day, he was lining up hundreds of Asaba men and was shooting them just like that. These men were defenseless, they were innocent, they were not combatants, they did not bear arms, but this man destroyed them on daily basis until he finally depleted Asaba of their males. And as we speak, the ghost of that sad, very, very tragic experience still haunts that town. And Murtala Mohammed was to become Nigeria's head of state. That is the country we come from. The Igbo man has been under siege since 1966. And what I'm finding it difficult to understand is why Nigeria has not assimilated them, even if they talked about reconstruction, reconciliation, and reintegration, which did not work. And as we speak, the chemical engineering department at the University of Nigeria and Nsukka is still closed. They closed it because they thought that was where they were manufacturing chemical bombs. And as a result, that institution, that department, strategic department, has remained closed in the so-called One Nigeria, which I want One Nigeria. That is why I'm at the forefront of driving for an open Nigeria. This young lady, she spoke some facts, but she spoke from, again, the lack of benefit of Nigeria's history. You see, this is why I have problem with some young people who want to aspire to be Nigerian president. None of them understands the history of Nigeria. None of them. All right? Even the one who says president of Nigeria, I don't recognize him as president. Anyway, he comes with that mindset of a tribalism. You know, when you bring your tribal interest to lead a country, you never lead it anywhere. You lead it to hell. That was the same mindset Buhari came with. He was leading Nigeria from the prism of Fulani nationalist ideology. That was why he failed fatally on all fronts. Unknown gunmen was the creation of Muhammadu Buhari and all his security apparatus. The leaders of his security apparatuses knew that fact. They were all behind it, including the ones who were just retired as service chiefs. They were in it, or they knew about it. But because the armed forces lost its constitutional independence, which came to play again right after the election. If the army, the armed forces was independent as it's supposed to be, like the army of Egypt was, even with how hard Muslim Mubarak was, they were warning him about the consequences of some of his political maneuvers. And when the time came, they allowed the people to have their way. The army never intervened. But with every little thing here in Nigeria, the army is deployed. How many times, you and I live in the US, how many times have you seen the army deployed to fight civil insurrection in this country? We have seen very, very fierce ones. The army comes out when there are natural disasters. Army Corps of Engineers, that's when the only time they come out. But every second now, the police in Nigeria has become useless. It's the army.
Because they are private army, they are private tools.
Okay, good. We agree. So the unknown government was the creation of Buhari. The unknown government, Bola Ahmed Tinubu has a hand in it. If you look at the period leading to the election and what Asari Dokubo was doing, brandishing AK-47, and there were some on boats in the creek with illegally acquired ammunition. In a country that has an army, in a country that has a navy, in a country that has an air force, private individuals are securing and protecting our oil pipeline. My brother, where are we going in that country?
Well, I have a question to ask. I have a question to ask.
Yes.
because part of us trying to find a way to to articulate a direction for redeeming Nigeria. I said articulate it because it's just to see it's brainstorming, is that we need to also be making sure that we don't assume or say informations that that are not verifiable. You understand? That
Yes.
the unknown government are a product of Tinubu, or even from Buhari and all of that. If
Yes.
we are not sure of such kind of information and everything like that, I'm not saying those people don't have but specifically, if we're not sure, it now becomes a matter of saying, oh, that these people don't even know what they're saying. I don't know. That's why I had to bring it up.
I agree with
What
you.
would,
Yeah, that's you
make
have
you
a right
think
to
that
that
this is
question.
they are a
Yeah, the
product
reason why
of these people.
the reason why I say it is this. Even Abacha said it. He said, when any violent act lasts more than 48 hours, you know that the government has a hand in it. Now, you start seeing, I do have some understanding of military intelligence and national security. You see the way the unknown gunmen have been operating. Why is it that all these people, including the people who went to the market to beat up women, to punish them, abuse them, do all those things, in fact, shooting people on the streets, why is it that nobody is arrested? Now, has
So
there,
let me answer
somebody
that question in line with
that,
what you said.
some people have been apprehended and have been prosecuted for it? You never see it.
So
They,
I want to agree
you
with you,
remember
sir. Let me just say, I want to agree with you that
when they,
when a group lasts more than 48 hours, like all of that, that means the government and is involved. I agree with you. But now we need to filter it down. I don't
yes,
think all the problems that happen, in Nigeria, especially within our state, should be attributed to the top, because that means we are actually, taking we are actually trying to cover the chief security officers of those states. We're actually trying to cover them of their complicity of those crime
no,
or those issues. Like, for example, why I say that is that the first line of security to the people, the Easterners, and if any group will ever exist with the support of the government, is the state governors.
okay,
It's the
good.
state governors. They are the ones that
You
can
raised,
even negotiate with the federal agencies to say, no, don't touch this product. Don't worry, I will attend to it. I will attend to it. You understand? The
good,
state governors,
good,
which are actually people from the same community.
good. Now, how
So
will you
I'm
raise?
believing that this. Sorry, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I share that with you because I begin to get worried about the behavior of
No, it's the
the
state.
governors,
It's the state governors. It's the state
the
governors,
governors
because
from those states.
yeah,
Because
you remember that the way Nigerian function is that politicians use violence and criminals and criminal group and gangs to push their way into offices, and so those criminal groups and gangs are their reserve private army with which they used to terrorize their opponents and terrorize even people who dare to want to speak out, to ask, or to hold them accountable within their locality, which is the state. You understand? So the first thing that happens is that when they have these people operating and doing things that is now coming out into the wider society, that is now becoming a Nigerian problem, like we see with this case of what these people who are saying sit at home and the unknown government you are mentioning. The
yeah,
primary place of focus is what is the state government or governor doing about it? Because if I thought that those people really exist, they are living right there in the state. There's no there's no group, like I'll use Niger Delta, which I'm very familiar with. There's no group that is a militant group that is in Bayelsa State operating, coming to execute some things in Bayelsa State that are coming from Delta State. You understand? Because there are people who are in Bayelsa State that would not allow them to cross into their territory. So whether it's unknown government and they are operating in Enugu, they are inside Enugu State there. And the governor knows where they are. Even if he don't know, if he wants to know, he can know. he has all the resources within his arms to do and to undo everything that is necessary to be done. And even when the federal government decides to want to come in, I think to a very large extent, these governors play a large role to say, oh, don't worry, Your Excellency, don't worry, I know what to do, I will handle this matter. Why? Because these boys are part of their private army. So sometimes they call them and say, oh, how much do you want? They pay them off and just keep them quiet for some time so that the center think that they are doing something to really, mitigate the situation or to handle the situation. Sometimes they call people to go and talk to them and tell them that, look, for right now, just calm down and all of that. So basically, I just want to say that as crazy as the center is, the federal is, right? Like, until we begin to know what the problem is and where to address it from, we'll be like those people who are running in the wrong direction. No matter how fast you run and you are running in the wrong direction, you're running nowhere. So we must know where the problem is. That problem of this unknown government is I don't believe holistically that it's a product of any of these people like you mentioned. Even though I don't agree with a lot of this, I don't agree that they are.
Yeah, I think I have a reason for agreeing that they are. Because of self-confession. I don't know how many times you have been listening to Asari Dokubo. He confessed severally that the Igbos knows how he and his boy have been dealing with them. It's not an under the time.
I follow all of Asari Dokubo's comment. It's shameful a lot of the things he says sometimes. Well,
coming to Asari Dokubo, who challenged the Nigerian government, of which again, I don't want to recognize or validate Tinubu, that he cannot be arrested. And he has said all kinds of things, and he openly carries illegally acquired ammunition, arms and ammunition, and nobody does anything to him. So what does that tell you about the country?
It's simple. It tells you the kind of government we have today, the people who are there, that these people who are there, this is, like I said, when we started this whole conversation, where Nigeria is right now. What it simply tells you is that these people who are, we started from fraudsters hijacking offices in Nigeria. We started from, people who, were fighting for their tribalist interests. And this is not tribalist interest anymore. This is a criminal gang hijacking a nation. That is what it is. That's why you can see people like Asari, because it is them that is now running things. It is them who are in charge now. It could boldly do a thing that can not only send him in prison, that can send his entire, anybody that has any connection with him, that in a place like USA can open up an investigation to pick out all of his network and lock them up forever. He could do it in a government like this, and it tells you nobody will arrest him, and nobody is arresting him. It's a message he's sending to you. It's a message we are all crying about. It's the fear that we have all come to realization of, that what we have right now, it's a gangster government. Gangsters government. You cannot, if you talk too much, they'll come and carry in your hands and will kill you. If you ask questions that they don't like, very soon you will see what will happen. They will begin to tie down different social. They will tie down a whole lot of things, and nobody's going to do anything about it. I think that is a different matter actually from that issue about the unknown gunmen. That's what I'm just trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, it's a different issue. I want us to, if we say this is this, I don't want us to speak from a place of pain or emotion or anger. I want us to clearly articulate these things and then now say, okay, this is what it is, because clearly, if we come back to what that young guy is saying, it's unfortunate, and it pains me too to see that the Easterners, I don't like to use the word Easterner, but just for purpose of description, because I'm one of them. I'm an Easterner. I'm a Biafran, but that they don't have that sincerity of purpose for the change that we all are fighting for the change that they desire. They don't have that sincerity of purpose. It's unfortunate. everybody is speaking in their own private area. They don't have that sincerity of purpose, because if they do, a lot of this problem that we're talking about happening in the East, it can be addressed. It can be addressed. Even the issue of IPOB, it can be restructured in a way that it is, all inclusive, and give everybody who is a Biafra a sense of responsibility, to agitate for this, for the same cause. But they don't have that unity. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah,
It's hard.
This is sad. We have a lot of work on our hands. But coming from Nigeria and living here, I don't know how long you have lived here. I've lived here for nearly 28 years. And I've traveled around the United States, with the exception of 2 states. I've not been to Alaska and Hawaii, but every other place in this country I've been. And from that understanding and my experience, I have never been asked to leave Texas, for instance, where I've lived longer than anywhere else. I don't even know who a Texan is. I don't know how they look like. I know people wear cowboy hats here and something like that, but nobody has ever asked me, where are you from, to the extent of asking me to go back home, go back to Nigeria. But in Nigeria, it is very easy for people, especially the Igbos, to be asked to return home. And the reason why I'm saying it, I'm saying it with the benefit of a very sad personal experience. I was in Kano up to 1992. In 1991, there was this deadly Kano riot because a German preacher called Reinhard von Keken. I don't go to church like that. All of a sudden, the city went up in flames, and they were killing people like crazy. And I was caught in the crossfire. In fact, my friend with whom I was working was murdered in my presence. They came for me, and I was lucky. I don't know what I did. I don't know how I was able to, flee. But I did not flee without an injury. I have a lifelong scar right on my forearm. Somebody was trying to stab me in the chest, so I took the dagger with my forearm, and then I think I took the dagger from him. From them, I was able to escape. Then the place where I found myself was a place they call No Man's Land. Everywhere I looked was a dead body, until one woman ran close to me and then held me in my waist and told me, "You are bleeding, you are bleeding, you are bleeding." So when I looked at my hand, I was drenching in my own blood. She took me to her house. I was so scared. And she took me upstairs. She tried to calm me down, that her brother was in the army in that Kano, that he was on his way to pick us, all of us, up to safety. I wasn't still sure. The only thing I had with me was my international passport. So I asked her to give me a nylon paper bag. She gave me 2. So I wrapped it and put it in my pocket. Then came downstairs. I saw a river behind her house. I jumped into that river. Then swam across. I came out from the Air Force base, and it was shocking. Thousands of people that I saw, the different stories of how family members were murdered and given options to jump into the well or be slaughtered with the dagger in my own country. And that hastened my departure. Yes, that's my own personal story. And if you ask why I am the way I am, this is one of the reasons. I'm very hard on Nigeria, and then the demand for a quick return for us to build an open country, so nobody will be afraid of being anywhere in Nigeria. That's my story, and I live with that scar. Yes, and it hasn't stopped happening. And if you listen to El-Rufai's 11-minute video clip, you will bleed for this country. where he openly stated that he met him leading a group of Muslims from the north, came to a meeting with the other Muslims from the southwest of Nigeria, which is the Yoruba area, led by Professor Akintola, to find a way to make sure that they had a Muslim as president, a Muslim as his vice president, to improve on his own record in Kaduna for 8 years that he was governor, excluding people who were non-Fulanis, who were perhaps, I don't care about religion, who were Christian or not Muslims, in a country that is supposed to be one. Doesn't that scare you?
Of course, it's horrible. It's horrible. I know people like the Merofa. I know the kind of evil they've committed in Nigeria and what they still do, and their extreme views and ideologies, and what they represent, and how inhuman they are in terms of considering that they are supposed to be role models to the entire Nigerian nation, not just certain class of people who they represent. Of course, and that's your story about what happened in North. I had people who really experienced it firsthand, and so many people who also died, in that process. And I want to say that I agree with you 100%, and it's still something that baffles me every day. Like, I was able to tell you that from the beginning, that I think at this stage it's not even hatred that people hate the Igbos. They are afraid of them, not afraid of them in a bad way, but afraid of them out of their own, disdain for the power this group of human beings carry, the power for them to, industrialize, the power for them to, to transform, the power for them to emerge and, build. Igbos practically can build cities and build nations. They can do it. I have been to Aba and walked around Aba and stood and say, and say to myself that, okay.
Yes. So that is the part of the problem we have. Now, when you have a people, because sometimes I'm not making an excuse for some foolish behaviors. All of us come from places. People from my own tribe, I'm an Eka person. I would say, I wouldn't say that they don't like me because of what I am doing. They tell me that I don't project the image of my own tribe. I'm talking about defending Igbos and defending sometimes Yorubas and Fulanis and stuff like that. I tell them, no, my calling is to defend humanity. Any person, you don't criminalize a group of people because of the attitude of some of them. But unfortunately, that is the problem we have with Nigeria. In fact, I fell out with one young girl with whom I have worked for nearly 3 years because of I didn't discover that she hates Igbos with a passion, regardless of whether there are good ones among them. And then
I don't know what does that mean what does that mean for people to say that? What does it mean?
Yeah.
Like I said, they are not being honest. Why they are not being honest? I keep saying they don't hate Igbo, they are afraid of Igbo because they are ashamed of these people becoming
and jealousy.
Yes, thank you. Okay, I use the word, I think fear, but I think jealousy and this envy that these people can emerge, right in front of you. You understand? Ordinarily in a civilized place, they are the kind of people you want to draw close to, you want to emulate, like look at it as it is today in the United States, and especially in the United States where we know, right? Everybody want to, get close to the Jews. Everybody want to know how the Jews are doing their business. Everybody want to understand how the Jews operate, how they move. That is actually how Nigeria as a nation, as a people, is supposed to be drawing close to people who are of the Igbo origin, because I don't know, God bless them to be like that. They are resourceful, they are creative, they are industrious. The Igbos alone can carry Nigeria on its back and take Nigeria to the heights that oil cannot take it. The Igbos alone can do it. And so so I believe that is what it is really. It's not that because what do you hate them for? You understand? What do you hate them for? They are not coming to you. They don't come to ask you. They don't, they don't brag before you, and they live their life.
They don't go to your community. Don't want to take.
They don't go. They don't know. And again, to another thing, if an Igbo person, If an Igbo person comes to your community, he adds value. Yes. Value always. Look at, for example, look at Lagos we are talking about today. Igbo people have had so much value in Lagos that Lagos have become a place that people are craving for. What is in Lagos? The Yoruba didn't build Lagos. They cannot build Lagos. The Igbos built Lagos. That is what I said. I kind of, relate to what that little girl is saying, in a sense that, if the Igbos, of course, we understand Nigeria is for everybody, but even look at the north. You were in the north, right? When you experienced that thing, you can tell that time, and even today, the big businesses in the north are being run by the Igbos. That is why you see that when it happens, the first thing is the envy of these people. They believe that they just come to take from them, but they are adding value. Look at an Hausa man. I'm not saying this out of tribal sentiment or anything. I don't play that stuff, but I'm saying this out of fact, right? If go to any other state, in any state, just call any state, like in the south or in the east. If an Hausa man is in the east, he doesn't build a house in the east. He doesn't have a house in the east. Even is everything they live in shanks. They don't add any value. It doesn't have anything is contributing to the government in taxes. They just take and they go. There's nothing that they don't put any value, whether infrastructure, whether to build a business that is employing people, whether to build services that is bringing business, that is helping business to survive. They don't. So I'm saying that the Igbos, everywhere they go, they produce value, they add value. So it's not hate. I think people need to really begin to redefine this thing that is driving them to begin to hate the Igbos. It's something that is driving them to act in hate. But I think they are afraid of the Igbos. It's not a bad fear like they are afraid of them. The Igbos are not criminals, they are not thieves. There's every if you want to project that, every tribe in Nigeria has all of these bad elements. You understand? But what we do generally is that you rationalize, you try to take them randomly. If you bring 200 Igbo persons, of course we have maybe like 15, 20 of them that are doing bad, but 80 of them are productive, educated people, highly resourceful people, highly functional people. That is how you define what you used to describe a people, not the few bad eggs which we have everywhere, even in our small families.
Absolutely. Now, going back to the election, somebody asked me sent a question just now about Abiola's case. He said when it was Abiola, the whole of Nigeria woke up and were behind him in the agitation for him to get his mandate. But he's seen something different, that not many prominent Nigerians are lining behind Peter Obi in his quest to find justice in his case. Can you lend your voice to any possible reason why that is?
Anyway, I want to say that that in a sense it's a different dispensation. Remember that it was Nigeria against the military. You understand? Because Nigeria was one whole unit, whether Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, everything. We were all civilians against one body, which is the military. Okay, so in a way too, we were all speaking almost in one voice, in that sense, right? That is it. I just use that to divide the dispensation of now that it's not even military, it is more civilian and civilian, right? So somehow that sentiment have been sown in all the way from Obasanjo. They say, oh, it's a Yoruba man that is president. They now put a good luck, Yaradua, then Jonathan, and everybody say it is South turn and everything. In the military, it doesn't happen like that. So already the sentiment started even growing, even more divided, as we begin to advance in our civilian from civilian to civilian handover of power and leadership in Nigeria. That's that. But again, it brings us back to a very important point, which we were just discussing now, which is that if you check during the Abiola time, in as much as so many other Nigerians, joined to fight. Like I said, all Nigerians was on one side against the military was on one side. But the Yorubas, many of the Yorubas, the prominent Yorubas, the big voices in the Yoruba land, everybody came out to speak that, no, this man, they spent money. They were out. Nobody was hiding in terms of hiding, not to be known that, he's actually supporting Abiola. But let's come back to some of the points I made about the behavior of, some of our Igbo brothers, especially the ones who have the wherewithal and have the voice and the platform. We know that during this election, a lot of people, it wasn't an Igbo thing. The whole Nigeria voted for this guy,
Yes.
But with the way things are today, we are not seeing the people, if the ones who have money are coming out to speak, the ones who don't have money will be emboldened. Do you understand? The people who don't have will be emboldened to be saying, look, we'll do it like this, we'll go further. There is no big man. There is no rich Igbo man, prominent Igbo man. Now, let me not say there is no sufficient prominent Igbo voices that is standing to speak publicly and say that this election, the Supreme Court must do this. It's still the common people, the common Igbos, the common Nigerians that are speaking. There's no powerful person who is coming out from there to even begin to lead the way. Where are they? That is what that girl is even saying in that video that she's showing. Look at what is happening in the Enugu state. As bitter as I am, as pained as I am, I'm ready to, from even the United States, to even lend my voice to the situation. But look at people like them who, that is their right, their village, even though it's Nigeria, but that is their home. It is their cousins, their mothers who are being molested and being maltreated like that. And nobody is saying anything. So to say that during Abiola time, all Nigerians were out and everything and all that, I think, there's a parable that says that if your people don't kill you, people from outside will not. I think that if, you want to put it in terms of that comparison, we need more prominent people from the East to come out and be bold to say that we can survive without anybody. And we want to say that this is not right. And it's either we have it done right, or if you say you want us to go, if the Igbos truly, I hate saying it this way because it begins to sound too tribalistic of this whole conversation. But if truly the Igbos today pack their loads, of course, some of them will, and pack everything and leave Lagos and move and close down shop and close down business and close down investment in the whole of Lagos. Lagos will not last 2 years. Lagos will fall.
I know.
You understand?
I think they are beginning to move now. To be very honest, with the last the outcome of the violence.
Let them come home. If you are not in Aba, how can you fight for them to fix the Aba road? Because you are in Lagos, the roads are good there. But Aba is in a pit. If you are living in Aba and you have such money and you have such investment, you will be there to fight with your governor, with your influence, to make sure your governor fix that road. You understand? You will be there with your power to pull the people around you and embolden the people to challenge the local government chairman and challenge the ward councillors to do something to promote those places. And those big skyscrapers they build in Lagos, if they build it in Aba, business will still come there. White people will still fly from anywhere and come to Aba to come and do the business, because it is where the business is they are looking for. You understand? If you build those kind of infrastructure there and you put work everywhere in Lagos, people will be moving from everywhere, from the south and the north. They will be coming to Lagos to look for job in all these industries that they have built in Lagos, that is making Lagos look like it. So and then the taxes also will be going to their governments. And then also the little businesses, the small the small businesses that move the micro economy will boom. And people will begin to build hotels also, because people are coming there to stay to do their businesses. And then you will not tell me that if they are there doing their business in the East, that they will not fight to make sure that the Onitsha port is revived. I don't see a mad country like Nigeria, a crazy place where we have ports in places to decentralize the kind of the backlog of administrative movement we have for cargoes and goods, which also means we are tying down money and tying down, you know, the time of coming around investment in Nigeria. You tie it to Lagos. In Onitsha. There's a port in Calabar. There's a port in Port Harcourt.
They kill all those ports for Lagos to be the only port in Nigeria. So
if these big men, all these big men, all these rich men that have built skyscrapers everywhere in Lagos, that are not going out to be negotiating with the Lagos state governor, going out as on Hanese going to be negotiating. If they built all this, if they are in the east, that port will work. Because they are not there, they don't find it relevant to go and be putting their goods there and everything. If they are there, the port will work. Let them build Okonkwo in the east. They have industries. If you see what poor people are producing in the east, without electricity, using generator to produce shoes that they are selling, exporting out of Nigeria. If you see what is going on in the east, if you go to Onitsha, if you go to Inewi, if you go to my brother, they should be afraid of them. I know why. They will not give the Igbo a chance, but it's because of the poverty of the Nigerian mind, the total political class. That is why. Because if not, we are supposed to use the Igbos to challenge nations like China. We are supposed to use the Igbos to draw, you know, countries and economy and technology from the United States into Nigeria. We are supposed to use that, but it's the other way around.
It's really sad. Wow. Oh, it's been such a great encounter with you, brother Bai. And we're running out of time. And hopefully, in no distant time, I'm going to take you on the issues around the Niger Delta and the environmental degradation, pollution, the prospects that are underutilized, corruption, massive corruption in that area, and the failure of the political leadership in that area. That should form the topic of our next discussion. It's been such a wonderful 1 hour, 27 minutes with you. I would like you to give a parting word to the Nigerian young people, and with emphasis to the Igbo people, you know, and their status in Nigeria. You know, I think those people need some words. You know, no matter, you know, just, you know, express it the way you feel, so that those people will start thinking. I don't think, especially their leadership, is not thinking enough. The Igbo political leadership, they are the worst. They are so distant from their people, and that is why all their governors, you see, they are aliens. They are not connected to their people. That's the reason why they tend to want to identify with those who actually don't like them, those who are out to destabilize their people. They don't work with their people. That's the greatest problem. So they are not truly representing. They are not representatives of the Southeasterners and you know, the country at large. You know, with the type of attitude they have, self-centered, not essentially beneficially purpose-driven. So say something to them before we part. And I thank you again for taking time to come to this show on a very, very short notice.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the one word I want to say, the one word I would like to say. Yeah, can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me? Yeah, can you hear me?
Did we lose him?
No, I'm right here.
Hey, brother, bye.
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I hear you now.
Okay, so I just want to say that for one word I would like to say, you know, is that it's going to be very hard for people to respect you. It's going to be very hard for people to respect you if you don't respect yourself, you know. And I would want to advise the young people in the East, especially I don't want to, they are not middle class, but they are not, I don't want to call them any other thing than the middle class, but the common young man, you know, in the East, that they should be well informed and ask questions and try to, you know, be let them ask questions about things that drive them, and try to understand the purpose for why they do what they do. I said that because a lot of the things that is happening today is that a lot of them are just driven by sentiments. I think they should go beyond sentiment to go to the point of really looking at issues for what they are, for them to be able to find a way out of it. Education is very important. I know they're very industrious and everything, but they need to gravitate towards education. However bad and poor our education system is, they need to gravitate towards that, while they're also doing their businesses and doing their skill acquisition and stuff. And then let them not be afraid to question their leadership. Those in position of leadership, let them not be afraid to confront them and question them. Let them start from home. Let them start from questioning their ward chairmen, their ward councillors, to questioning their local government chairmen, to questioning their governors. The problem is from within, not without. The first problem is from within. Let them deal with the internal problems that they have and ensure that trust is established amongst them primarily. And then I think with that, they will be able to pull in every other persons that sympathize with their cause as a people, and then also as Nigerians.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. So we'll see you next time. I hope you won't mind obliging when we invite you at such a short note. But the next one, we are going to have at least a week ahead of time, so we'll be able
to that would be great. This was like this. Anyway, thank you so much. I did enjoy having this conversation with you.
Yeah, I appreciate you seriously. So you have a great evening, sir.
You too. Thank you so much.
All right, take care. Yes, that was brother Opai. Is US based from south of Nigeria, a diehard Nigerian patriot. You heard him, Igbo. I see on here. So it's in your hand. Every man has got the right to decide his destiny, and in the judgment there will be no partiality. You are one of the most patriotic Nigerians. Don't worry about what anybody feels about you. It's all about jealousy, and people should be very proud of Igbos, for real. Nigeria has underutilized the Igbo race, in its quest to get out of darkness, and the earlier we accept the Igbos, the better for Nigeria. And where we cannot accept them to be part of Nigeria, please, let's let them go so that they can build a country of their own the way they want to build it. And I can tell you, in a record time, those people will be better than what China is right now, because I know that for a fact. They are very, very ingenious. They are very, very creative. Let us stop hating them. Let us stop envying them. Let us stop this jealous thing. Let us allow them drive our country whenever we give them the opportunity. Actually, honestly, let's go to history. For all those who have left Nigeria and led the country into the ground, there's no one Igbo man. No one Igbo man has left. Nigeria cannot hold the Igbos responsible for the total failure of their country. So an Igbo man won an election. He won an election as a Nigerian. He did not campaign as an Igbo man. He campaigned as a Nigerian. Nigeria, because of hate, gang up against that, the outcome of that election. You want to put a drug baron who did not win an election, because that is what the Nigerian gangsters want. No, it's time. You see how Nigeria has failed. So you want us to start? Let us start. Gowon was not an Igbo man, right? The only Igbo man that had an opportunity that, he did not want it. It was a situation. It was very, very situational. He came. What did they do? What did Nigeria do? They cut him down. They killed him. An innocent man. They killed him, dragged him on the bush. And the same people who did it, their offspring and some of them, Buhari is part of them. They took over the country. They hijacked the country fought a bloody, stupid war, tribal war in Nigerian armors and Nigerian tanks. Where are we today? After Gowon, who was there? Murtala Muhammad. Was he an Igbo man? No. After Murtala Muhammad, Obasanjo, because that one succeeded him after they assassinated him. Obasanjo, was he an Igbo man? What did he do with the period he was head of state? All right. Then after Obasanjo, who came? Alhaji Shehu Shagari. Was he an Igbo man? No. All right. After Shagari came Buhari. Was Buhari an Igbo man? No. After Buhari came Babangida. Was Babangida an Igbo man? Hell no. After Babangida's thing, there was a Shonekon for a few months. Was Shonekon an Igbo man? Hell no. After Shonekon, who came next? Abacha. Was Abacha an Igbo man? Hell no. After Abacha, Abdul Salam. Was Abdul Salam an Igbo man? No way. After Abdul Salam, who came next? Obasanjo came back again. Was Obasanjo an Igbo man? No. After Obasanjo came who? Yaradua. Yaradua, was he an Igbo man? No. After Yaradua came Goodluck Jonathan. Goodluck Jonathan was not an Igbo man. He's an Ijaw man. Where did we go? Then after him, Buhari. Buhari came back again. Buhari came back again. 8 years of a disaster, 8 years of blood, 8 years of terrorism, 8 years of degradation, 8 years of increasing divisiveness, 8 years of nepotism, 8 years of hate, 8 years of brigandage, 8 years of banditry, 8 years of kidnapping, 8 years of everything evil. Buhari. Now, after Buhari, who? Confusion. They planned a coup. Buhari, Tinubu, Mahmoud, El-Rufai, and all the fake traditional rulers in Nigeria, mostly fake traditional rulers in Nigeria, and the failed organized private sector, driven by the quest to be registered and recorded as the richest men in Forbes. Here we are. Nigeria is a failed state. An Igbo man won an election. We are waiting for him to be declared winner. It's either you declare him winner or you forget about the growth of Nigeria. Igbo man, this man has something to offer to change the course of history for Nigeria, to manage and drive Nigeria as a true business that it should be, to open Nigeria for access to opportunity to all Nigerians without condition. And that's what some people don't want. That is what they don't want to hear. That is what they hate so much. A sultan who has an oil well in Niger Delta, emirs who have oil wells in Niger Delta that they don't come from, they want to stand in the way of Nigeria. Our army has become a private army. Our police has become a private police. Criminals now guide our oil pipelines, and we say we have a country. And people like Reno Omokri become stars in Nigeria. People like Keyamo became stars in Nigeria. What a sad commentary for a country that some people like me belong to. Sadly, Professor Wole Soyinka reduced himself from a globally recognized icon to a tribal nationalist. That is how sad our country has gotten. What else are we waiting for? The country has fallen. And if the only thing left for the country to do is to wake up. A country where women are abused, journalists abused. Our country that is ruled by criminals.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Rukaya Aliyu Jibia. I'm a journalist from Katsina and I want to share with you my encounter with the police. A few days back, the Nigeria Police Katsina State Command paraded 4 suspect young ladies between the age of 19 to 23, claiming that they are into prostitution. Upon seeing that video, I recorded a TikTok video at my personal TikTok page where I quoted a section in Nigeria's constitution, which I suggested to the police that they should have taken the girls to court until they are proven guilty before parading them to the press. The next day, I received a call from the PPRO Gbadmaosi inviting me to the Emir's palace that the Emir wanted to see me. I was on my way to the Emir's palace when Gbadmaosi and his boys came with 4 cars, blocked my way. They dragged me out of my car and they broke my phone. I sustained injury. I think you see, I sustained injury. And they dragged me to the Emir's palace. Upon reaching the Emir's palace, Gbadmaosi then narrated to the Emir that I'm responsible for looking down on the police and undermining their authority. I'm also responsible for sabotaging their work. And the Emir asked Gbadmaosi or assigned them to remand me. So when I was taken to court, fortunately the Qadi was not around. It was late, so I was taken to area command. After spending like 5 hours, my lawyer was able to secure my bail. I was granted bail that I should come back the next day. The next day, I went back there and I wrote my statement of what happened the other day. I was asked again to come back the next day, which is today. I went there around 11 o'clock this morning and I was hoping that I would be taken to court. Unfortunately, the area commander told me that I will be taken to police headquarters. My lawyer was not there at the time and I was so scared going by what happened between I and Gbadmaosi. They assaulted me the other day, so I was scared and I ran for my life. So I'm currently into hiding now because I know that my life is in danger because the police are chasing after me. I hope I'll be granted justice because I was humiliated and I was assaulted by the police. I hope you share my story.
Yes, that's it for today. Today's edition of Nigeria Now at ONN and the Nightingale Radio International, anchored by Smart Mado Ajaja. We especially thank our friends, patrons from within Nigeria and around the world who tuned in, and those who are going to wake up to this as a breakfast in the morning. God bless you all, and God bless Nigeria. And we must not give up on our country. We must recover our country. You know, the work of the demand for freedom is one of the most difficult work, but enjoying it when it comes to fruition is, I don't know if there's anything that can be compared to it. So, hey, Nigerians, keep on working, keep on hoping, and keep on standing. Yes, I know times are difficult, but difficult moments are what defines a people. And I know we can do this, and there's no reason. We are more in number, 250 million versus 10,000 people. Why can't we use our numerical strength to demand and get what we want? And any court, Supreme Court, for instance, any leader of Nigeria derives his power from the power of the people. So we have right to withdraw it to wish, and which is what we must do now to put our country back on the path to recovery and greatness. Good night, and God bless you all.